So let us start the class with the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadankitam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Shri Lalita Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णव्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिनि नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेषाय शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणी जय हो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा. And once again, I welcome all the devotees for the level 2 Bhagavad Gita online learning course. I know that it's a weekend and then in the Saturday. So joining at 5 is a bit difficult, but yes, you all have made an effort, which is a great step ahead in your spiritual journey. So once again, congratulations for all of you. You have passed the level 1 and then say you have joined level 2, and thank you for showing your interest. Yeah. So let us continue the spiritual journey and hope all of us will continue with this spirit until we complete the Bhakti Shastris. Yeah. And it will be wonderful if we all have Bhakti Shastri degrees. Yeah. So it will take some time, but yes. So let us put our conscious effort towards it. Yeah. And then before I start the topics, say I'd like to be, I like to thank Naminister Prabhu, so who is the temple president of ISKCON Mangalore. So without him, this association of online teaching and preaching of Bhagavad Gita would not be possible. So he is my Shiksha Guru. So I'm always indebted to him. Yes. And then we should always be thankful to ISKCON. So without the ISKCON, right? So we could not have sat like this, say having in a classroom, sharing our thoughts over Bhagavad Gita in the association. Yeah. So it is a great juncture. So today I'll start with the orientation first. So what is the course content for Bhagavad Gita level 2? Yeah. In ISKCON Mangaluru, how does it look? And then what time frame are we going to adhere? Yes. And then couple of do's and don'ts. Yes. Okay. Let me open up the day 0 presentation. 1 minute. Yeah. So hope you are able to see my screen, right? Any digital hand or thumbs up if you can do it, that will be helpful. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
thank you all.
Prabhuji.
Yeah. So this is about Bhagavad Gita orientation for level 2. Yeah. I'll just go to the presentation mode. I think it will be much more better. Yeah. And then, so we, all of us know, right? In this picture, we have Srila Prabhupada, our Acharya. Yeah. So he is the one who started the ISKCON movement, right? At the age of 70, he went into the West to preach Bhagavad Gita. So that was the order from his guru. And then he created a miracle, and he had created hundreds of temples by then, and then now it is flourishing like anything. And we are fortunate that we are part of it, and then we are reaping the benefits. Yeah. I'm not so qualified to speak about him because he's a pure devotee. But just before we start, I wanted to glorify him. And if we need the detailed information about his life and then his struggle, say how did he build these many temples and how did he go to the West in a cargo ship? Yeah. All these things. So you can read it from Prabhupada Leelamrita. So it's a very nice read. If anyone is interested, then they can go through it. Yeah. So this is the pranam mantra. So hope everyone knows this, right? These pranam mantra. So do we chant this mantras anytime in a day?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
We cannot see the mantra. We can see only the first slide, which is saying understanding Gita.
Is it? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Let me share once again. So is it better? Is it coming now?
The screen is stuck actually.
Ah,
No,
okay.
Prabhuji.
Okay. Or else let me do this for now. Okay. Is this better now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Sorry. So this is Prabhupada Pranati. So do we know this Pranati? So do we use this pranam mantra any time of the day? Anyone?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Do we? Okay, good then. Anyone who is not using, they can start say with this pranam mantra. This is very simple, and so we all should know this because before we start for chanting, right? So at least we should sing these Prabhupada Pranati, Panchatattva mantra, and then there's this Hare Krishna mantra. Yeah. Okay. So anyone would like to read this mantra?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Shall I?
Yes.
Yeah. Who's that? May I know? Anyone, please. Is this Shiva Kumar?
Hare Krishna,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
sir.
Okay, good.
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyade Pachat Desha Dharani.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So,
Next,
yeah,
Prabhuji.
yeah.
Shri
Sorry.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Yeah.
Thank
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So this mantra, right? So we should first recite and then pick up our japa bag, or and then do the japa. Yeah. So the pranati goes like Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deva Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisheshai Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini. Jayo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Yeah. So you can learn it slowly. Okay. And then some more details about why levels in understanding of Gita course. So this is a question which comes in, right? Saying that so we have done level 1, say, why do we have to go to level 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So there are different levels. So the only reason is that the more we read the books, right? So we understand the essence more. Yeah. So if you actually read this lines, right, it says that in my books, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is explained fully. So if there is anything which you do not understand, then you simply have to read again and again. By reading daily, the knowledge will be revealed to you, and by this process, your spiritual life will develop. And this is from the letter to Bahurupa, Mumbai, 22nd November 1974. Our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So the idea is, the more we read, right? So the more knowledge we gain, and then so we try to understand more, right? So every read in Bhagavad Gita is like that. So first time you read, you get something, you may like 10 or 15 verses. Second time you read, you'll appreciate 10 more slokas. And then third time you read, you'll feel that, okay, no, 108 are good. After reading 108, once again, if you start reading, you'll feel that, no, there is much more than 108. Yeah. So it goes on. So it is like the more we read, the more we get addicted. Yeah. So it is very good actually to read Bhagavad Gita more times so that we understand the philosophy and digest it very well. Yeah. And we'll go to the next session. So the prerequisites, right? So if you look in, these are the prerequisites. Say one round is nothing but 108 times of chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And then you should have completed the 18 days level 1 quiz. So I hope everyone might have done this. Hence you are here. And how do we learn? So this is one of the question which comes in, right? So it is through reading, yeah, and listening to the classes, quiz, teaching assignments, and all those things which will follow through. Okay. So the whole idea is to complete one chapter in a week. Okay. And so we have 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. So we'll try to complete in 18 weeks. There may be 1 or 2 weeks here and there, because if there are any festivals or for some unseen reasons, right? So if the class is cancelled or something has happened, so we may push by 1 or 2 weeks. Okay. It will not go beyond that. Just wanted to know, is anyone in this class not chanting one round of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? Do we have any one participant or two who doesn't? You can raise your digital hand, please. Okay, very good. So everyone does one round. So it is very nice to hear that so all of us are chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So thank you all for that. And do we have japa beads with everyone? So everyone is chanting on japa beads, right?
No, no, Prabhuji. Actually, I have ordered. It will
Okay,
come. I
okay,
am chanting like one round 108 times
okay.
with my fingers.
Okay, okay, Mataji. Okay, Pritha Mataji. Any other Matajis or Prabhu who don't have beads? I see Uma Prabhu. I think he has unmuted. You have something to tell, Prabhu? Okay. So not an issue. So you can chant. Say even as Mataji said, right? So even at the fingertips, right? So using the finger lines also, right? So we can actually chant. Yeah. But the ideal thing would be like we should chant on beads. Yeah. So initially pick up a bead bag and then beads. So Tulsi would be ideal, but whatever you get in, right? So whatever you get locally or whatever you can order, right? So depending upon that, once you get the japamala, right? It is always good to take bath in the morning, yeah, and then say pray to the Lord and then sit for chanting. So one round doesn't take much time. If you're a beginner, it'll take hardly 7 to 10 minutes. Yeah. In between 7 to 10, and then once you catch up the speed, it'll be like 7 minutes, one round. Yeah. So everyone can do that. It's a very simple process. And you can see the difference when you chant one round, right? So after chanting, so you'll feel the difference. And slowly, right? So you can increase. So if you like the taste and everything, right? So possibly you can do it like every Ekadashi, right? So you can increase by one round. So that is how I did it. So when I started, I also started with one round. Gradually with every Ekadashi, right? I started adding one more round. So yeah, so that is how I practiced. And then you can also try that option if that works. But yes, don't do it forcefully. Slowly you'll pick it up. Yeah. And then this is Sankalpa. Yeah. So first I'll read through and then you can follow me. Okay. So this is Sankalpa for level 2. I shall chant one round of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every day.
I shall chant one round of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every day.
Okay.
You should chant Krishna mantra.
I shall regularly attend Gita classes.
I shall regularly
I
attend
regularly attend Gita classes.
I shall actively participate in discussions during the classes.
I shall actively participate in
discussions
discussions
during
during
the
the
classes.
classes.
I shall follow strict messaging ethics on class, chat box, WhatsApp, etc.
I shall
I
follow
shall follow
messaging
strict
ethics
messaging
on class,
ethics
chat
on
box,
class,
WhatsApp,
chat
etc.
box, WhatsApp, etc.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So these are some do's and don'ts. Yeah, I think we are all matured, so let's not use the class chat box for continuous messaging, because these days we are all in digital world and streaming and all these things are there. But yeah, so let's not do here. Possibly if there is any question you would like to ask, so you can put it in the chat. Yeah, or if there is any question being asked, you can answer it in the chat. Yeah, but let's not spam the chat box, because if there are more chat messages, right, so we can't read first thing, and then the concentration of all the participants will be to look at the chats. Okay, so let's not spam it. I think only if we take care of that small thing, right? So I think that would be helpful. And this course is offered free. and no payment needs to be made for learning this course. So that is the beauty of ISKCON Mangalore. So Naminister Prabhu, right? He has created revolutions wherein he has done this online Gita preaching for free. And then he has, till now, we have got 8.5 lakh registrations. Yeah. So we can't imagine. So that is his vision. And yeah. And any donations to be made online is through this website. Yeah. So this we can get from our ISKCON Mangalore website also. If any time you want to do donate something, then this is the place where you can do it. And then we do not ask for or send any messages, request for donations personally. Please be aware of spam messages. So what happens is, I'm not sure how many of you get this message. Usually we tend to get a message saying that today is an auspicious day. So like, for example, Rath Yatra came in, right? So which was very recent. So the text a message saying that today is Rath Yatra and it is an auspicious day. And if you donate on this day, right, so it's very auspicious. And then they give a link also over there. Okay. Don't actually look into those messages. Those are all fake messages. Yeah. We don't know where it is generated. And even they tag as ISKCON, okay, to that spam. So don't look into those messages. Anything which comes in our WhatsApp groups and in our website is genuine. Okay. I can say that. And then this is our temple address. Yeah. And then these are the contact details. Okay. Only one change in this slide is we have shifted our temple from this Coconut Garden Road, Kadri. So now it is in Suratkal. So there is a place called Kulai. Now we have shifted after the soft opening of the temple, right? So we have shifted there. And the rest all information is same. So nothing has changed. And then we have our temple president, Naminister Prabhu here. Yeah. Okay. Any questions so far until here? Let me see.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, this time is more inconvenient for most people. Is it possible to rearrange timing?
So that we'll
Only-
have to check, Prabhu, because this is the time which was being given, because the logistics at the back end also, right? Like the Zoom links and all, right, should be available. So for this month, right, we have got this timing. Still, we can go ahead and check, but I believe we don't have an option. And every month, right, possibly next month we'll have another batch. I'm not sure what would be the timings of that batch, because it depends upon the availability of so many things, right? So at the back end, the admins and WebEx meeting links and all. So we'll see through, Prabhu. So if there is an option, we'll ask, but I see very less chances of it, at least for this batch. But yes, we'll check with the admins and get back to you. Okay.
Good evening, Prabhuji. I had one question, if you don't mind answering, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question is, classes will be from 5 o'clock to 6:30 Saturday and Sunday, right?
Yeah. So we'll have 1 hour session and then post that we'll have 10-15 minutes for question answer, Mataji.
All right. That's it. Thank you. And the 18-day course that we previously had,
Yes,
it
Mataji.
had a continuation of the Bhagavatam classes. So that is separate and this is separate, right?
Yes, Mataji. See, if for Bhagavatam, right, so we have say language wise, we have Bhagavatam classes, and they are at different timings. So you can join them, Mataji, and then
Sure. Whom do I contact, Prabhuji?
no,
for
that
this?
will come in. That will flow
All
through
right,
in your
all right.
WhatsApp
Thank
messages. If you want English, right?
Yes.
It is by Naminister Prabhu. He takes every day at 8:15, temple.ty link.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Let us park our questions at the end because we'll just set the context of today's class. Yeah. And then so we'll start with this chapter. Yes. And at the end, I'll take all your question answers. Okay. Okay. And so I'll just set the context about Bhagavad Gita. So this particular epic, right, so is a part of Mahabharata, so which held 5,000 years ago, right? So this was the fight was between Pandavas and Kauravas. Okay. So the reason was, we all know that Pandavas went into exile, and then when they returned, right, they asked to Duryodhana the kingdom, and Duryodhana said no. So they wanted actually to get the kingdom peacefully. Okay, Pandavas were never interested in war, so they did send a lot of options and then mediators, and then they always wanted an amicable solution wherein without war and peacefully, right? So, and then they asked Duryodhana for half the kingdom, for which Duryodhana said no. And then they asked, give us at least 5 villages. To that, Duryodhana says that I'll not give you even an inch of land, or rather he said pin size land also he'll not give in. Okay. So therein these things, because Pandavas were also Kshatriyas, right? And then Kshatriyas can't sit idle because they have to rule, right? And then they just wanted 5 villages, but even that was denied. So then the war was inevitable. Hence, this war took place in a place called Kurukshetra, so which is currently near Delhi. Yeah? And so this war was within the family, so between the Pandavas and Kauravas. Yeah. So that is the background of this episode, and Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata. Yeah. And in here, right, so both the armies were assembled to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, and Arjuna had some questions, or he was bewildered, and then Sri Krishna was his chariot. At that time, this conversation happened between the Lord and Arjuna. Yeah. So this is a beautiful scripture, so which has come out of the mouth of the Lord. Yeah. So that's Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita actually answers majority of our issues, right? So like if you can take, it teaches us from time management to leadership, yeah, and whatnot. Say what is there beyond the sky, yeah. So all those answers, right? So you'll get from Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is nothing but an question answer thing, yeah. So Arjuna asks questions to Lord Sri Krishna, and then he replies. So it is a beautiful conversation, yeah. So wherein every aspect of life is being discussed. It's not about war. If you look at Bhagavad Gita, right, there is hardly any verses wherein the war-related information is discussed. So very less number of verses are there, say where say the war-related informations are there. Apart from that, it is all about the manuals. It's a life manual for us, yeah. So to go through, yes. The other thing I would like to add here is the Bhagavad Gita was spoken in 45 minutes. Yeah. So I think we are not at the stature of Arjuna, wherein so we can understand the philosophy and everything that fast. It's because he was a great devotee, he could do that. But for us, right, it is very difficult. Yeah. So we should not go in that direction, but yes, we should actually take inspiration from Arjuna, because he had a lot of questions and all those were answered. And then the way he had devotion towards the Lord, right? So if we follow those footsteps, right, it will be very easy for us to understand Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. And in the market, right, so you'll find there are a lot of Bhagavad Gita versions, particularly in English, right? So you'll find dozens, not dozens, even hundreds, you'll find Bhagavad Gita. And majority of them do not have the essence. Yeah. So if you look in, right, our Bhagavad Gita cover page says Bhagavad Gita as it is. So this Bhagavad Gita is written as it was spoken. Yeah. So there is nothing which is tweaked or which is customized. Okay. So Prabhupada never does that. So read any of his books, right? So they are very genuine and very authentic. So we are very fortunate to get those books to read. Yeah. And it is never tweaked, because these things came from the disciplic succession. Yeah. So those disciplic succession details, we can find it in the Bhagavad Gita introduction. So we have those lines from where it came in. So it started from Brahma until Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. So the whole parampara chain is listed there. Okay. And so that is something which I would like to highlight about this book. Okay. And I'd like to ask a question. So do we know what Bhagavad Gita actually covers? There are 5 elements which Bhagavad Gita covers mainly. You can either put it in chat box or you can raise your digital hand. I'll unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So in the level 1 we studied like the 5 factors. One was Dhyana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So amongst this, like Bhakti Yoga has been considered very simple one to reach towards God as compared to other yoga.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, I think you have jumped one topic ahead. Yeah, but it was good to know that you understand that. I asked, what are the 5 major topics which Bhagavad Gita covers? But yes, you gave the yogas, different types of yogas, which we'll cover in couple of slides. Thank you, Prabhuji. I see Sukant Prabhu. Sukant Prabhu, you can go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So the
Hare
5
Krishna.
topics are Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So those are the 5 topics, right? So Bhagavad Gita actually covers these 5 topics. Yeah, as Prabhu said, right? Atma. So Atma is nothing but the soul. Yeah. So which is, yeah, I could see that couple of them have typed in this same thing over the chat. Thank you for those responses. So it actually covers 5. So Atma or Jiva, the soul, right? Where soul is the basic thing for a body, for the consciousness, right? So the basic element for consciousness is Atma. Yeah. And the other thing is about Ishvara. Ishvara is nothing but the supreme controller. Yeah. So we are Atma and the Lord is Paramatma. Yeah. And the other thing is about karma. So karma is nothing but our deeds, right? So depending upon what we did, right? So all our papa and punya, right? So we tend to get those reactions. Yeah. That is mostly related to the what was karma? Yeah. And then it is kala. So kala is eternal time. So which is like the time passes by, right? So which actually shows us how things change in, say like, say a young boy grows into an old man, right? So all those things happen through kala only, right? It is the time factor which moves on. Yeah. And so what is the last one? Prakriti. Yeah. Prakriti is the material nature. Yeah. So all these things, right, about uh, Jiva and Ishvara, so we'll get to know in the 13th chapter. So there is a great detail. Yeah. And even about Prakriti, the Skala, all these things, the time factors, what happens at the time of death, and all those things, right? So will come in the next chapters. Yeah. So we'll start the chapter 1, which is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Yeah. Anyone remembers the first shloka of Bhagavad Gita? Can raise the still hand.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Jyoti Mataji. Is it Jyoti Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
Karma kshetre, Kurukshetre,
Mm,
Samaveta Yuyutsava, Mamakah Pandavaschaiva, Kim Akurvat Sanjaya.
yeah,
Sorry.
so that's the first shloka. Yeah. Maybe so before going to that shloka, right? So we'll just see through what is there in this PPT and then jump in. So we spoke about Prabhupada and the Bhagavad Gita book as it is, and then this is Mangala Charan, so which I recited before the starting of the class. So this you can find it in the Bhagavad Gita book also. Okay. So in the introduction, so we have this. So if you want to learn, you can learn it. Okay. And then so according to Srila Prabhupada, right? So Gita is the basic practical preaching book. Okay. It is not only not only covers theory, but it's a very practical book. Say one of the example we can say that in one of the verse it is being said that patram pushpam phalam toyam, right? So if you want to offer to the Lord, right, you can offer a fruit, little water, yeah, and leaves and all those things. So these all things are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Hence, it is more practical. Okay, and yeah, I think these we covered. And then yeah, this is about Shankaracharya. So who describes Gita as a river of nectar, right? So this is actually this is present in the I think in the introduction it is there. So this is Gita Matyam 3. Yeah. So the verse 3. So this describes Gita as a river of nectar. So the verse goes like Malaniro nirmochanam pumsam jala snanam dine dine shakrad Gitamrita snanam samsara mala nasanam. So this actually, what does this verse means is, say every day we take bath, right? So we take bath in the water, but if one takes the bath in the sacred Ganges, so of Bhagavad Gita, then for him the dirt of material life is vanquished. So that is what this particular text means. Yeah. And then this is something about the history of Mahabharata, just we spoke, and Arjuna's denial of war. And then this also we covered. A Lord speaks Gita out of compassion for living entities. And then this thing, right? So Bhagavad Gita was spoken long back to Ishvaku, to the sun god and Manu, right? And then, so post that, right, after generations, right, it lost the essence. So Krishna once again spoke this to Arjuna. so that the next generation again pick up the essence of Gita and then so they use it in their day-to-day life. Yeah. And this is a breakup of the Kuru dynasty. So nothing much to cover here. It's just a representation of everything. So maybe you can just remember if somebody doesn't know. So Abhimanyu's son was Parikshit Maharaj and Parikshit's Maharaj's son was Janmajaya. I think rest all you might be knowing in. Yeah. And yeah. So and then there is a little bit description about the divisions of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. As one of the Prabhu said, right? So Bhagavad Gita is all about yoga, right? So it says Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. The first 6 chapters are Karma Yoga. The second 6 chapters are Bhakti Yoga, and the last 6 chapters are about Jnana Yoga. Okay. So in here, right? So even this is actually compared to a jewel box also. So the first 6 chapters are representing the lower part of the jewel box. Yeah. So the lower covering of the jewel box is Karma Yoga, and the upper lid is Jnana Yoga. So which is 13 to 18 chapters, and in between the actual crown jewel is Bhakti Yoga, which is between 17 to 12. And then does anyone knows what does yoga mean? Anyone
So this
knows?
is
Can
union with
raise.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. The union with God or Bhagavan, Lord
Yeah.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Pankaj Prabhu. Yeah, right. So it is nothing but linking, right, with the Lord. So if we are linking it with purative actions, then it is called Karma Yoga. If we are linking with the Lord with philosophical means, then it becomes Jnana Yoga. And then if we are linking it by meditation on Paramatma, then it becomes Ashtanga Yoga. And then if we are doing it with devotional services like Shravanam, Kirtanam, and all those things, right? It comes to Bhakti Yoga. Okay. So this is what is being described. So just whatever we spoke in, right? Uh, so and here also the same example, right? I gave the example of a jewel box, but here the example of a king is being given. Okay. Wherein the king is traveling with his army. So whenever there is a procession or anything, right? So you'll see that the main person, right? So like the king or any person, right? So who is a very VIP, right? So he'll be always at the middle. So like prime minister, chief minister, right? His car will be at the middle, and then there'll be 3-4 cars going ahead, and then 3-4 cars going back. So so that's the analogy which is being given here. Okay. And so again, some more information. Srila Prabhupada's commentary is based on these prominent gurus. Yeah. So from them, this has the Bhagavad Gita which we are reading in, right? So that has evolved. So it is from Baldev Vidyabhushan and then Sridhar Swami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sripad Ramanujacharya. Yeah. So we all know that Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses, right? And out of which Dhritarashtra spoke only one. Yeah. And Sanjaya 41, Arjuna 84, and Lord Krishna has spoken the majority of them, which are 574. Okay. So 80% of the Bhagavad Gita is spoken from the Lord's mouth. Okay. And does anyone know, say, what is Lord known in this Bhagavad Gita? So wherever we see, right, whenever Lord speaks, what do we find in front of that verse?
Bhagavan Vacha.
Yeah, correct. Thank you. It is Bhagwan Vacha, right? So everywhere it is being described that Lord Krishna is Bhagwan. Yeah. And do we know the actual meaning of Bhagwan? Okay, I'll tell that. So Bhagwan is one who possesses all the 6 qualities. Okay, say who is full in all the 6 opulences rather than qualities, right? So it will be opulences. So anyone remembers what are the 6 opulences? So
All beauty, all fame, all wealth, all
yes.
renunciation.
2 more.
All
Anyone?
power.
Yeah,
All knowledge.
strength. Yeah, strength and knowledge. Thank you, Mataji. So that's, so one who possesses all these 6 opulences in full, right? He is called as Bhagavan. So it is Lord Sri Krishna. So this is the chapter 1 sections, so wherein we have verses 1.1 to 1.27. So this is the introduction, so preparation for war, and then Arjuna's doubts. Yeah. So this was the first verse, right? So which Mataji actually recited. So the verse was Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyotsava Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimak Akurvata Sanjaya. So the first verse, right? So is spoken by Dhritarashtra. This is the only verse which he speaks all in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So he is asking Sanjaya. Do we know who is Sanjaya?
He is the informer of Dhritarashtra.
Okay.
Disciple of Vyasadeva.
Yeah, correct. And then what did he have? What power did he have?
He could see without being present at the place.
Yeah. So Vyasadeva gave him this boon, say wherein he could actually see, say here he is sitting with Dhritarashtra, but he is able to see what is happening in the Kurukshetra war. Yeah. And then he'll describe. So this first chapter is mostly description of Sanjaya about the war field and everything. Yes. And the first question which Dhritarashtra asks to Sanjay, saying that what is happening in the war field. So in the war field, he says that what is happening between Pandavas. Yeah. So what are they doing between Pandavas and Kauravas? Yeah. So he is asking, what is happening between my sons and the sons of Pandu? So you see, so Dhritarashtra, physically he was blind, and even spiritually also he was blind. Okay. So he was in Putra Moha, right? And then he never actually took the 5 sons of Pandu as his sons, right? So he had 100 sons, right? So he never used to say that he has got 105 sons. Because he was always greedy and always he wanted to have power, right? So that's the reason he used to always separate. And even in this verse, right, he's asking, what are the sons of Pandu and my sons doing? So he's not accepting the sons of Pandu as his own or from the Kuru dynasty. Yeah. And this question, why Dhritarashtra asks is because he has so many fears and concerns. Yeah. Because his main concern was with the land. Okay. Kurukshetra. So that is a land of religious thing. Okay. So so he was having a doubt because of that place, right? Will his own sons, will they come for a compromise? Because the place has got such a magnanimous effect that it could change anything. So because that is a very virtuous place, right? So these are all adharmic people, and then he was thinking, will there be a compromise? will my sons' minds change? Will they compromise? Yeah. And will the fight happen or not? Okay. So he was very doubtful, and that's the reason he was asking. But on the other hand, say he would have been happy if say the Pandavas should say that okay, we'll not fight and then go back. So that is acceptable to him, but he'll not accept if his sons are going to compromise for anything. So all these things, right? Because of the place, it's a divine place, right? So he was having so much of concerns and fear whether these things will happen or not. Yeah. So, and this particular place, right? So, which is Kurukshetra, right? So there is an analogy which is being used. So, the Lord had assembled everyone on this battlefield to remove all the unwanted weeds. Okay. So, weeds are something which grow in the paddy field, right? And then so those are like parasites, and then that doesn't have any value, so those things have to be removed. So similarly, the miscreants or the persons who were following the adharma were all brought into the battlefield so that they can be removed at once. Okay, so that was the Lord's plan. So this was the first verse, Savarin, and then these are couple of things. So his concerns, right? Dhritarashtra's concerns about Dharma Kshetra. And then the verse 2, right? So wherein Sanjaya actually answers, saying that to this question, right? He says that Drishtva tu Pandavanikam Vyudam Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasangamaya Raja Vachanam Abravit. So here, right, in the verse 2, right, Duryodhana, by at once seeing the battle field, right, seeing the opponent party, the Pandavas, the way the military formations were arranged, right, he also become a little bit fearful. And we all should know that Duryodhana is a great diplomat, yeah. Due to his diplomacy, he runs to Dronacharya, and then he asks him, saying that, have you seen that the way the Pandavas have arranged the military formations and all? So ideally, a king should not go to the commander-in-chief, okay? So rather, the commander-in-chief should come in, because he was fearful and he was skeptical. So he at once ran to Dronacharya. And then he was asking, so did you see the formation, how they have done? And then, so he was actually, he went to his guru, right? So Dronacharya, so who was commander-in-chief, just to pinpoint couple of things, yeah. So because he's a diplomat, right? And then he never leaves for an opportunity. And so in the third verse, right, say, he says that Pashyatam Panduputranam Acharyam Mahatim Chamam Vyudam Drupadaputrena Tava Shishyena Dhimatam. So here, right, so he says that, did you see the army which is being arranged at the opponent side is done by the son of Drupada. He says Drupada Putrena, but he never says as Drishtadhumna, because he wanted actually to instigate Dronacharya with his old rival, with Drupada. So that's the reason he wanted to ignite that. So he takes the name of Drupada and not Drishtadhumna. So Drishtadhumna, he calls that his enemy. Okay, and then he's provoking Drona, you see. So that's what Duryodhana does in, right? So you see, say how duplicity he has, yeah. And then so and there is a little story about Drupada and Drona. So I'll tell you that. So initially, right, so in the olden days, right, when Dronacharya was learning, right, both Drupada and Dronacharya went uh, to the same spiritual master to learn the art form of chivalry, and then both were trained. So Drupada was a Kshatriya and Dronacharya was an Brahmana. The skills were imparted, and then once the training is done, then they came out of the ashramas, and then at some time Dronacharya's financial was not that great, so he went to Drupada for some help, and so therein things didn't go well, and Drupada insulted Drona, and Drona later on joined the Pandavas, and then he trained them. He became the guru, and he trained Arjuna and all others, right? And Arjuna actually went, and then he defeated Drupada, and he captured that city or the kingdom. So that is how Dronacharya took the revenge that see, my student has captured you. So this badly hit Drupada, and then Drupada did some fire sacrifices wherein he got he begot Drushtadumna and Draupadi. So Drushtadumna was actually born to kill Dronacharya. So that's the reason Duryodhana is hinting Dronacharya, see, your rival son Drupada is arranging, is the general, and then he is arranging the planks at the other side. Okay. So and the other thing is Drishtadyumna was being trained by again by Dronacharya. Okay. So because he was a Brahmana, and when he came, when Drishtadyumna came in, so he taught him everything. So all the skills were imparted to him, knowing that he would one day kill him. So he is even pinpointing that, saying that, say you have trained someone from the opposite side, and then who is cause of your death. So you should not be lenient, is what he says in, yeah. So this is all we have heard, and then this is Akshoni Sena. So tomorrow, if somebody can remind this, I'll talk about this little bit. We'll cover some more verses. So in the next couple of verses, right, 4 to 6, Duryodhana actually talks about the opponent strengths of the army and all, right? So he says that who all are there, Bhima, Arjuna, and all those things are there. And the other sons, right, of Subhadra, that are like the grandsons, sons, and everyone. So he was talking about Pandava's army in 4 to 6. Yeah. And then Duryodhana was always envious of Bhima. Okay. So because he knew that he'll be defeated by Bhima. So he was always fearful of Bhima. And on the other side, right, from 7 to 9, he describes his own army and his own strength. And in his army, right, he has got experienced fighters like Bhishma, Drona, yeah. So he's comparing them. After that, he'll compare, saying that both the parties, right, say like the rivals and their side, right. So he'll do a comparison, and then he'll say that the Kauravas, right, so we are having more powerful army, or say our army is more than the Pandavas. Okay. And then he goes to Bhishma Dev also, and then he praises that we have got Bhishma on our side who is the grandsire. Okay. And then when Duryodhana goes to Bhishma, and then Bhishma actually blows the conch shell, so to give some boosting to Duryodhana. Okay. And here he says, we are parayaptam, so we are immeasurable or insufficiently protected by Bhishma. And here, right, Duryodhana actually gives a weak link here. He says that in the verse 9, right, there are so many warriors who are ready to die for me. So before the start of the war itself, he has got a negative sign, so which is not good, right? So this is one of the thing which Duryodhana actually revealed it. Okay. And then he boosts Bhishma as he's a politician, right? So, and there are other warriors also in his army. So he feels that they'll be left out. So he also praises them, saying that Bhishma has grown old. So you'll all have to cover him in the fighting, and then he may forget that he has to kill the Pandavas and all. So you'll have to give a coverage. So he just shares everything. Yeah. So I think for today we'll stop here, and then from tomorrow we'll start from verse 14. Okay. Hare Krishna. Anyone has any questions? They can ask.
Prabhuji, actually on Saturday and Sunday, I have like actually I am the self-employed and I do practice. So Saturday and Sunday, probably on Saturday, I have some my clients. Okay, so, Prabhuji, in the evening.
Okay.
So Prabhuji, it is possible that we can get the recordings because there is no morning classes available right now. If
For
the
this month there is none. Yes, Mataji. Yeah, we'll get the recordings.
that is the only problem, Prabhuji. That is I have also asked previous